Today on the Texas Tribune Weekend Insider. Since taking office in 2005, Joe Straus has escaped being challenged in a GOP primary. Under scrutiny from some conservatives for being too moderate, Straus became the Speaker of the House in 2009 and easily defended his seat during the 2010 midterms. Jay Root introduces us to a challenger going toe-to-toe with the Speaker in his home district. In recent years, Texas ranchers in rural areas are finding it increasingly difficult to find large animal veterinarian care. Graduating Texas vet students are more inclined to move to urban areas and treat small animals. Susannah Jacob explains the vet shortage and the challenges facing Texas ranchers.
Joe Straus is the Speaker of the House. It's a very powerful position. He is only the second Republican Speaker in modern history. He came to power after opposing the first Republican Speaker in modern Texas history, Tom Craddock, and he was elected in 2009, re-elected in 2011, and his opponents were not able to take him out in the Speaker's race. Now they're sort of coming after him the old-fashioned way. They're trying to beat him in his own House district in San Antonio. Straus's opponent is a guy named Matthew Beebe. He's a small business owner in San Antonio, ex-military, native of Michigan, kind of a young guy. He hasn't raised a whole lot of money. He wants to raise at least $100,000 or $200,000, which in a House race could make him competitive. It's a big deal because Straus is a big deal. As Speaker, you shepherd legislation through the House, you appoint committee chairmen. It's a very, very important role. So that's why a lot of eyes are on this race. Straus's problem is that he's perceived as a moderate. And in Texas politics and conservative primaries, that can be a liability. However, Straus's district is relatively moderate compared to a lot of other districts. And I think that Straus's strategy is to really take this seriously, and he is. There's a little bit of an unpredictable side to this, and that is that Texas might have a fair amount of activity in the presidential race. Rick Santorum says he's going to campaign in Texas no matter what happens in between now and the May 29th primary. And if we have a real race, then you start to have TV ads, people start taking sides. You can really gin up turnout. I think most analysts think that believe that Straus will win this race, but you know, this is a volatile time and anything can happen.
Increasingly in Texas, there's a shortage of vets in rural areas that practice on large animals, cattle, farm animals, sheep, horses. And the reason that is that graduating vet students are growing up in urban areas and more inclined to move back to urban areas. So the generational difference between the people that grew up in rural areas and used to go to vet school to return to the ranch is substantially less. The two groups that are most impacted by the shortage, and there's certain areas that are shortage. There's not an overwhelming shortage of vets in the state of Texas, but certain areas are the current, veterinarians that live and work and practice in rural areas, and in often cases have for 50 years and are really ready to retire, but don't have an associate or someone to take over their practice. They don't have another vet, and it's hard because they've developed relationships with all of the ranchers in the whole community, and the other people that are impacted are the ranchers. There's many ranchers who really have difficulty getting veterinary care and often have to make a hard decision to handle an emergency situation that a veterinarian is trained and educated to take care of themselves, and the outcome of that is sometimes that cattle's lives are lost, or they lose the financial investment that the cattle represents. The shortage of rural vets is a national problem, and the USDA currently has a program where they pay off vet students loans if they work in a shortage area. In addition, there's one vet school in Texas. Texas A&M is the only place you can get a veterinary degree in Texas, and they are doing their best to encourage students and to practice in rural areas and to illuminate and make clear for them what the value and the advantages and the significance of working in rural areas.